everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you are doing really well. Today is going to be all about how I heat style my short, extremely thick, wavy slash curly hair. There's a lot going on here. All I've done to my hair at the moment is wash it. There is nothing else in here. I haven't even combed it or anything yet. I wanted to be able to show you the whole process from start to finish because I know a lot of the time when you see styling videos it's like, I've already done half of it, but here's the end bit, and I don't really think that's that helpful. So I have just washed it. I used the Living Proof Healthy Hair shampoo and conditioner. I really like Living Proof products. They're expensive, but I really do think you get what you pay for. The quality of the products is so nice, and they just do what they say on the bottle. They make your hair really lovely, but they don't like overload it, so it's not like so moisturizing that your hair feels kind of weighed down and like, yeah, it's soft, but it's also kind of like, ugh. You know what I mean? When it just kind of hangs on your face and it's just not a good time. Living Proof doesn't do that. So obviously I used them in the shower, and then the next thing I do whenever I get out of the shower is immediately to comb through my hair. I do this with my fingers in the shower, but to be honest, this tends to be just to kind of get the waves and everything under control. I am going to try letting my hair dry naturally. It looks from here like it would dry really nicely. I've been burned by this before, okay? It just kind of, it looks really nice and then it goes really wavy and frizzy and gross. So I think I need to just kind of get to grips with it. But I just use this really wide tooth comb. I actually got this one from Primark and it's great. So, you know, I mean, you can get these from basically anywhere, but I've said this before and I will say it again, do not brush your wet hair, wide tooth comb or your fingers. Do not start attacking it with your ball bristle brush, okay? You're just going to cause yourself so much damage. Your hair is so fragile when it's wet, so yes, please be careful. So my next step is to use the Living Proof Restore Smooth Blowout Concentrate. I promise this video is not sponsored by Living Proof. I wish it was. Living Proof, if you want to sponsor me, then, you know, get in touch. But I just really rate their products. Like I said, they're just good. They're really good, and they smell amazing. And yeah, I just can't really go too wrong. So I just use a pump of this now. I used to use 2 when my hair was really long, but now I find that 1 is more than enough. So I just get that all through my hands, and then I just run it through the ends of my hair. I do take it reasonably far up, but this is an oil, so if you have a very fine hair, then I wouldn't take it up quite as far as I am. But if you are like me and the individual hair strands of your hair are very thick, you can just get away with going a little bit closer to the root, because chances are you probably don't suffer with greasy hair quite so much. I mean, if you do, then ignore me, but I don't generally. So I just get this all the way through, make sure it's really well distributed, kind of run your hands in there, get in there, really get this stuff everywhere you can, and then I will comb through it again with my wide tooth comb. There you go. I've just put you a little bit higher, so hopefully you can actually see my entire head now. This is an item that if you have thick hair and you don't have one of these, then what are you doing? But it's one of these big claw clips, and it is quite a big one. I can't tell you where I got this from, but I have seen these in Tesco, so you can basically get them from anywhere. But if you do have thick hair, you need one of these. It saves you so much time and effort and frizz, because I find that when I section my hair off to dry it, it doesn't go nearly as frizzy. I mean, the Living Proof helps with that a lot, but also doing it in sections. So yeah, grab yourself one of these, section off your hair, thank me later. So I'm not too exact with this bit, to be honest. I just kind of half and half my hair, get the top half, give it a little twizzle, and then clip it in place. Next up is my secret weapon of hair. This is the Revlon Hot brush styler. I can't remember exactly what it's called. I'll have everything I've used today linked in the description bar, so just go there for the names of stuff because I can never remember. But this has changed my hair life. I used to hate blow drying my hair, and I mean, I'm still not a massive fan because you just get hot, but this has made life so much easier, and particularly when my hair was a lot longer, I could just dry it with this and then leave it. I'm gonna do more than that today because I'm gonna show you my whole kind of waving routine today. But this has honestly absolutely changed the game for me, and I haven't found that the big one is too big for short hair. Like the smaller one probably would work a little bit better, but if you already have this one, if like me you had longer hair and then you chopped it off, then don't worry about buying the smaller one. I think this one does an absolute fine job. Cue time lapse, and I will chat to you when the bottom of my hair is dry. So that's it, half done now. Now hopefully you can kind of see it's pretty smooth. I've dried it so that it'll curl kind of underneath a little bit, but to be honest, for what we're doing today, because I'm going to be putting a wave through it anyway, don't worry about that too much. And you'll see when I go to the top layer, I actually dry it quite rough, I guess, just because I just want to make sure that it is 100% dry, more than it's important that it's really, really sleek, if that makes sense. I was going to make another video about how I style my hair when it's just straight, but to be honest, I just do all of this and then I just straighten it. So it would not be a very exciting video, but I thought today, because we're putting a bit of a wave through it, so it's a little bit more interesting. I hope. I don't know. I find watching these videos really therapeutic, so hopefully somebody out there feels the same way. So then I just take the rest of it out, let it down. I'm not too picky about where my parting ends up. To be honest, I don't really have an exact parting anyway. It kind of moves around, and I also like moving it around. I like to have it in different places. But this is probably where it's fallen. It's probably its happiest spot. So then I just use the brush itself just to brush it through, and then we go in for round 2. Something that I realised I hadn't actually explained, when I'm getting a section, I'll brush it through, I'll get it kind of, you know, hooked into the brush, and then I will hold it there, obviously air going, but I will hold it there for about 5 seconds before I slowly move it down the piece of hair. It's just to get the root dry. My biggest thing when I'm drying my hair, or the thing that is most likely to happen, is that there's actually still quite a lot of moisture in the hair, and then that's when my hair will go a bit frizzy and a bit kind of not a nice texture, just as if it, you know, as it would in super high humidity, because that's effectively what's happened there. So yes, if you're finding that you struggle with the texture of your hair later in the day, you feel like it goes a bit frizzy, you know, a couple of hours after you dried it, that might be the reason. So make sure that you are fully drying your hair. Anyway, yes, back to it. I would say my hair is about 90%, 95% dry, and I quite like it like this. I quite like the sort of more kind of voluminous little bit of, you know, shape at the front style. But this is where, if I left it like this, it would go frizz bomb with, I mean, you know, within an hour or so. So it's at this point that I start kind of mixing it through, and you'll see me just, you know, brushing through from all different angles, getting it from the bottom, getting it from the side. And what this will do is not only, you can see that just from brushing it, let's just calm that back down a little bit. What this will do is just make sure that, like I said before, my hair is 100% dry, because otherwise styling becomes much more difficult. There we go. So now my hair is completely dry. So this is kind of look number one with my hair. Sometimes I will just leave it like this and just let it kind of do its thing. You'll see it sort of starts flicking a little bit in the layers, and I've got a bit of shape to it. It's got a lot of volume, and I just leave it like this. This is kind of look number one. Look number two would be, from this point on, I would section it off. So I'd put, again, half up, half down, and I would just run my straighteners very lightly over the bottom, just to make sure that there aren't any big chunks that are going to flick through and kind of ruin that really sleek effect. But then I would straighten the top layer a little bit more, what's the word, thoroughly, because then, you know, you get that really sort of sleek style, which I do really enjoy and is probably my favourite. But I know a lot of people like to put a wave through their hair. That's what I'm going to be showing you how to do today. But normally, if I was then going to put a wave through my hair, I would at this point sort of probably go away and take 5 and sort of cool down a little bit, and maybe get myself a coffee if it's in the morning, and just, you know, let it kind of settle for a minute. This might be partially, again, to do with just letting all the steam kind of escape from my hair, and just make sure that it's set in the style that it's in before I go in and try and put a wave through it. Because also, if I were to section off my hair now and do this, I would then get quite a big kink here, and quite, you know, it would hold that shape. So I let my hair completely cool before moving on to the next stage. So it's been about 10 minutes now. I just went off and got a drink. So my hair is completely cool now. So next up, I'm going to put through some heat protectant, and I'm still using and still really enjoying the Tresemme Keratin Smooth Heat Protection Shine Spray. I really like this for this stage in the styling, because I don't want anything in my hair at this point that's going to weigh it down more. Because I've already used an oil on it, I don't want to use more oil. Sometimes I'll shake it up and I'll use this as the first product on my hair, and then put an oil in once I've styled it. I quite like doing that for when I full on straighten my hair, because I just feel like putting a bit of oil in after you've heat styled it just takes away any slight crispiness that may or may not have occurred during the straightening process. So sometimes I do it around that way, but today this is my most normal, most used. I don't know, I can't use words today. I will just spray this basically all over my head, and then I will flip my head upside down and spray the other side as well. Volume is not my hair concern, shall we say. I just make sure that the heat protectant is all through my hair, and then, you guessed it, guess who's back? Okay, so it's at this point I have to sneak in a little tip, which is not mine. This was actually given to me, told to me by a really, really good friend of mine, and she was saying that when your hair is shorter, it's actually better not to curl the underlayer, because then you end up with, you know, when your hair's short, you put a wave through it and all of a sudden it's really poofy, and you don't want that big volume, you just want the kind of beachy wave. Well, if that's what you're looking for, then don't actually curl the bottom of your hair. Just curl the top section, and I'll show you what I mean. But what I do, because my hair, again, as we keep saying, is so incredibly thick, I do find that if I don't curl the bottom layer at all, it looks a little bit strange, because you can see that you've got two textures going on. So what I do with this bottom layer is I get my straighteners. I have the GHDs. They're just the kind of, you know, standard thin ones, whatever straightener you've got, it'll do the job. So what I actually do is I take pretty random sections and I will just run my straightners around, and then just like you're curling a ribbon, do that. And the other thing I don't do is I don't clamp the straightener down very hard. I find that if I really like squeeze, the same way you would when you're curling a ribbon, then it can make some really harsh kind of crimps and lines in my hair. So if you find that that's happening when you curl or wave your hair, try just actually putting less pressure on the actual straightening, you know, straightener itself. Hold it with quite a light touch, and then you'll find that it doesn't do that, because that was my problem for ages. I said to my hairdresser, I was like, whenever I curl my hair, it looks a bit too stiff and a bit, you know, a bit too much. She was just like, it's probably because you're applying too much pressure. And I was like, oh, what? So yeah, if you're also having that issue, then try that out. So this will be the last one that I'm going to do for this section. Like I said, I just do that. And there you go. Already you can see we're starting to get a little bit of wave and a little bit of texture, but it's not going to be too much once we've got the whole head going. So at this point, I will take down the next layer. So from this point on, we are going to be making sure that we do wave more of the hair, as it were. So I do this next bit in 2 sections because, like we've said, a lot of hair. So when I'm waving my hair, I do tend to take fairly big sections, and this is because I actually don't want it to be too perfect. My hair will hold whatever you put through it. So if I, you know, curl all of my hair, I'll end up looking like, I don't know, it's a bit young, basically. I can just make myself look a bit like a 12-year-old, and to be honest, that isn't really the style as a 28-year-old woman that I want to go for. So I'll feel around the back and just find any of the straight bits. Now, I know that a lot of people say to curl, you know, curl one away from your face, one towards, one away, one towards. I actually find if I do that, it adds more volume to my hair, and like I said, volume is the one thing I do not need to add. So I actually find that my hair kind of lays together a lot better when I do, you know, all the way from my face this way, all the way from my face this way, and then round the back. It kind of, you know, we do our best. But I just find that I get the style I want a little bit better if I do it that way round. So it just goes to show, just because you know, watch a tutorial and it says, you know, you must do your hair this way, blah, 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 make sure you do it. If it doesn't work for you, try something else, because everything that I know about styling hair is purely through my own experimentation, watching lots of videos, you know, taking what I want from them, and then also getting a few tips and tricks from friends. Like I said, the bit about not curling your whole head of hair came from a really good friend of mine, and I've used it ever since, and my hair looks so much better every time I curl it since she told me that. So, you know, I would have never have thought to do that, because I would have thought it would just look really, really strange. But because of the way that a hairdresser will cut your hair when it's short, you won't be able to see that underlayer peeking through. And if you can at any point, like this front bit for example, then you just grab that bit and wave it in with the rest. Okay, I'm going to do my best to show you sort of the whole thing, but that is what my hair looks like from the back at this point. Like I said, if it's not perfect, good. That's kind of what we want. When you're curling your hair and you want it to be that more kind of loose, wavy style rather than perfect curls, not being perfect is the way to go, because if you try and make each curl really, really perfect when you hold and everything, it'll look too polished once you're done. I think you should just leave it like this. What do you think? And you won't get that style that you're after. So it's at this point again that I will start being a little bit more choosy about the bits of hair that I choose to wave. I always get to this layer and go, I wish I didn't have this layer of hair, because I prefer, you know, the texture of my hair when it's a bit thinner and it's only 2 layers deep. But there we go, such is life. And I always start from the front and just work my way backwards. At this point, I tend to just use my fingers to comb through. You can use your brush if you want, but to be honest, I am lazy. And this, you know, takes enough time as it is, without worrying too much about brushing out every single different section. There we go, you can see that texture starting to come through. And we've got a little bit here which I just want it to curl in a little bit more. So I'm just gonna pick that out. There you go, and just curl it so that it'll fit in with the rest. And that's it. That's all I do. I suppose it can feel like quite a process, but when I am not filming and chatting in between, from wet hair to finished takes me about half an hour, which, to be fair, I mean, I don't think is too bad for a style that is pretty, you know, it's quite nice. I'd happily wear this for a wedding, but I'd also happily wear it just day to day when I feel like styling my hair up a little bit more. And I just find this is the quickest, easiest. It is heat on your hair, but because you're not straightening it first and then curling it and doing too much, it's not, you know, it could be worse, is basically what I'm trying to say. And I just feel like it gives it quite an organic, beachy, not too perfect, not too styled, you know, this will kind of do its own thing throughout the day, but just gives you that, yeah, a little bit more texture and a little bit more body to your hair. So I hope this has been helpful to you. Like I said, I'm not a stylist by any stretch of the imagination. This is just through playing around and figuring out what works. If it has been useful to you, then please do give this video a like and subscribe to my channel if you have not already. It'd be so good to have you, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye. This is just a very simple, I don't even know what these are called. Looks like it's gonna eat you. I can't take myself seriously today.